Hey there, golf lovers. Looking to step up your game? Let me tell you about Mollybox, the ultimate golf subscription box. Every month, Mollybox sends you a box packed with premium golf gear, accessories, and stylish apparel, all delivered right to your door. Imagine getting top-tier apparel and more, all handpicked just for you. With Mollybox, you'll stay ahead of the game and boost your performance. It's like having a personal caddy in a box. So why wait? Join the Mollybox family today. Head over to mollybox.com and use your limited time promo code ROGUE25, ROGUE, ROGUE 25 for 25% off your first box. That's mollybox.com.
Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast. This is Central Texas Life with Ann Harder.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Central Texas Life. And I am so excited to talk to Sarah Bird from Austin, all the way from Austin. We're using this wonderful new link, StreamYard. And so, we're trying out the new technology and everything. But Sarah is a novelist, screenwriter, and journalist. And I first became familiar with you, Sarah, through Daughter of a Queen. I went by the library. I've already loaned my copy of the book out, and so I went by the library to pick this one up. You wrote this in 2018. Fabulous story about Kathy Williams, an actual figure. I mean, it's a novel, but it's an actual person, a Black woman who dressed up as a man and joined the Buffalo Soldiers. I mean, it is an amazing story.
It's an amazing story. And a side note, because we are going to be talking about my Black Rodeo photos, I first heard this story at a Black Rodeo, 40 odd years ago. And I was intrigued from the minute I heard this story because I'd grown up in a military family. And I was aware that there were lots of women who passed during both the Revolutionary War and the Civil War. But as far as I had known up to then, there were no women that passed during peacetime, which is, just a much higher degree of difficulty because of close quarters and that there's not the chaos of war. So anyway, I was just fascinated. But it took me 40 years to kind of believe that it was all right for me to write this novel.
Well, and why was that?
Well, ideally, it should have been written by a woman of color.
Yeah.
But, I sat on the story for 40 years and
it needs to be written.
As you get old and you say, hey, much closer to the end than the beginning, I better make right with this one. I just felt an obligation to tell this story. And so I'm very pleased that I was able to do that.
Well, it is. It's awesome. It's a wonderful story, as you say, needs to be told. And as you say, you grew up military family, and your mother saw at a very early age that you had a talent for storytelling. So you always kind of knew you wanted to be a writer.
And or lying.
Well, acting, all those things kind of. But this story, as you say, you learned about through something you did many years ago, just gotten out of grad school, and you as a photojournalist at the time, you became real involved in telling the story of African-American rodeos, this whole culture. Correct. And so that you took lots of pictures, fabulous pictures, couldn't get anybody to publish them.
That's exactly right, Ann. That's exactly what happened. I kind of discovered, learned about the Black Rodeos. Certainly, I did not discover the Black Rodeos. They were there long before I was. Um, I started out just being fascinated by all the oddities in the state. So I photographed, and it was wonderful. I was going to UT, and they stuck a camera around my neck. And as you know, at that time, it was kind of special to appear someplace with a big giant Nikon camera and start taking pictures. So it was like a passport to anywhere I wanted to go. And there were many places in Texas I wanted to go. So I photographed um, sorority rushes and honky tonks and rattlesnake roundups. But I really fell in love with rodeos. In particular, what I thought of as the renegade rodeos, which were not mainstream rodeos. They were, so I photographed chatiatas, obviously not rodeos, but Native American rodeos, kids rodeos, girls rodeos, old timers
There's
rodeos.
prison rodeos.
Pardon?
Prison rodeos. I've heard about
Prison.
prison
Yes,
rodeos.
exactly. Prison and police rodeos.
Yeah.
But I was just fascinated by the worlds that sprung up around these
Yeah.
different events, and eventually, through I went. One of my big sources for learning about these rodeos were livestock auctions. And at a livestock auction in Clovis, New Mexico, I first heard about the existence of Black rodeos and went to my first one. And from that, from the moment I set foot, I just knew these were just more vibrant. They were more vivid, more alive, and just a heck of a lot more fun. So I devoted the next couple of years, whenever I could, to getting to as many rodeos as I could, and little tiny, tiny rural outposts like Plum and Egypt and El Campo, Pin Oak, and of course, but the center of it was the Diamond L Arena outside of Houston.
Right. That was I think, they referred to it as the Soul Circuit, I think.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. It was this rodeo is mostly located within a 150-mile radius of Houston on the Gulf. The ones I photographed were on the Gulf Coast Plains, and it was called the Soul Circuit.
Well, the images are amazing. And
Thank you.
and of course, you in this Texas Monthly article, the most recent Texas Monthly article, huge spread, great spread that you wrote and shared some of the images that you took. And but it took me back to my days at Baylor as a journalism student, taking photography.
Oh, yeah.
And the dark room, and I took a picture of my cat. That was my one thing that I did. And you got all these amazing pictures that you've done. but you had
you gotta leave your house, Ann.
I know, yeah, really. But I kind of with the broadcast thing, but anyway, it was fun, remembering how we learned to do that. And of course, now photography is so different; everything's digital and so forth. But you had all these pictures, and they were in a box under your bed. And then COVID comes along, and you decided to do some house cleaning, right?
I think, like most of us, I was shamed by Marie Kondo.
That's right.
Tidy up.
Does it bring joy? That's right.
I had, my dream was to publish these photos as a book, because when I would bring them back to Austin, my grad school friends would say, invariably somebody would say, "I didn't know there were Black cowboys." And nobody said it in a mean way. It was just they were not aware.
Right.
It was an anomaly. It was like they were saying, "I didn't know that there were Italian leprechauns." Just Hollywood had not prepared us to see Black cowboys.
Yeah.
So and as you know, being a news person, it made me aware that I had what we always look for, which is the untold story and the unseen image. And I was utterly convinced that as soon as I submitted my photos to publishers, they would be as electrified as I was by this world. Not the case. Not the case back in the late 70s and late 80s. Instead, what I heard was there's not a market, there's not an audience for this material. And in some cases, editors would call and say, "Are there really Black cowboys?" So
Yeah, I
So,
got pictures of them.
what I heard back from
I'll show you.
I know. Clearly there are,
Yeah, yeah,
clearly some great black cowboys and cowgirls.
yeah,
Um, but it's just no, no, and hell no. So
yeah. Well, and of course the whole period of they weren't invited to go to the white rodeos, I guess. So they just kind of had their own thing. Um, for all those years, it's still a thing? Or have they kind of
yes, the contemporary black rodeo scene has kind of exploded, certainly in national consciousness within the last few years. And there is a professional circuit known as the Bill Pickett Invitational Rodeos,
okay.
named after the great black cowboy Bill Pickett, who invented bulldogging, which we now know as steer wrestling.
Wow.
And this is a big circuit, and it's held in cities and arenas and whatnot. So substantially different from the small town rodeos that I photograph. And those do exist, but certainly not to the extent that they had existed when I photographed them, for, I would say, two reasons. Number one, I was kind of there at a pivotal moment when demographically the state was shifting from rural to urban. So I, by and large, photographed cowboys and cowgirls who had grown up in an agriculture or ranching kind of world, and they probably broke the horse that they rode. And these were men and women who knew how to brand and dehorn and dope a steer. And that changed. That changed for a number of reasons. The other reason that this was such a special world was that desegregation at that point, certainly in this world, existed, was observed more in the breach than in reality. So not only were black competitors not invited to come to white rodeos, they were made to feel distinctly unwelcome. And this is in, what I was always aware of, the incredible contrast to how very welcome and kind everybody at the black rodeos were to me.
Yeah, I wonder, because you had to stand out a little bit there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they were very welcoming and glad you were maybe telling their story, huh?
I think so. And I hope, I believe that that's communicated in the photos.
Yeah.
The sense
Absolutely.
of welcome. But mostly overall, just the joy in these rodeos, the jubilation, and as I say, the vibrance. They were my mentor in that world was a wonderful, wonderful man named Rufus Green. He was known as the godfather of black rodeo, and he had something he liked to say, which is, white boys turned rodeo into work. We always had fun. We always had fun.
It was games. Yeah.
That was so true. That was so true.
Oh, man, that's great. Well, so you find the pictures, and I think at some point you decided to donate them to
correct.
Correct.
So I always had it in my mind, when I stored these away after my heart and bank account were broken by these multiple rejections. And I thought, well, someday I'll get back in the darkroom.
Yeah.
I'll get back in the darkroom and work on these some more. And so when I found them during the pandemic, I pulled them out, and, two thoughts occurred to me. Number one, you're never going back into the darkroom. Also, P.S., you no longer have to go into the darkroom. There's this whole world of digital editing that had sprung up. But more than that, I just looked at these and said, oh my God, Sarah, you have got to return these photos. You've got to make the people who are in these photos aware, or their family or the actual people. And, and they need to have credit for the unbelievable world they created. So that really felt like a giant obligation. So I donated my negatives and prints to the Whitliff collection, the Southwestern Writers collection in San Marcos, and the wonderful digital wizards there digitized them. So instead of having to go into the dark room and, stand under the safe light, slosh prints around.
And the smell still I remember. Of
Do
those
you?
chemicals.
You've
Oh,
been
those
there?
chemicals.
Okay.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right. Well, it was a pretty arduous process.
Oh,
It
no
wasn't like,
kidding. No
you know,
kidding.
you get out your phone, click, click, and
I
and then you
know.
edit on the phone. And it was expensive and it was
Oh,
laborious.
yeah.
So that was no, and then so suddenly, I got these back, and I write in the book that they felt like ransomed children being returned to me because they just immediately came to life on the screen in the way that digital images do. And, I could change the contrast with just a few click of buttons and adjust the exposure and do what we used to call burning and dodging. And now there's a digital way to do that. So
Interesting. Yeah.
suddenly it was all possible. It was
Yeah.
all possible to, and the other, huge element is the world had changed. The
Yeah.
world was more than ready to see black
Absolutely.
cowboys.
Well, and in your article, that was the line I pulled from your copy. The images came to life on the screen of your laptop like kidnapped children who'd finally been ransomed. I thought that is so true, and I'm so glad that there's something about the fact they're in black and white that
Right.
it makes them so much more gripping.
They're timeless.
Yeah, they're
They're
absolutely,
timeless.
absolutely timeless. And like so much of Texas Monthly itself, a lot of the iconic pictures that I recall, over the years of reading Texas Monthly. But even back in the day, you pitched it and you were a contributor to Texas Monthly, and they said, "Oh
No, I
no,
wasn't.
oh
No,
you
no, no,
weren't,
not
okay,
back in. No, that came substantially.
oh okay,
After my heart was broken, and then I pursued a career as a novelist, which probably fit my temperament a lot better because I'm a person who likes to stay home.
okay,
uh, but yeah, it was substantially after that I connected with Texas Monthly, which if I'd gone to graduate school at University of Texas, and that was Texas Monthly was just starting then, and it was the pinnacle. It was the city on the hill. It was what
yeah,
everybody aspired to. And I submitted these photographs to Texas Monthly. Being stupid, I submitted it to the wrong person, so it was never actually made it up the chain to somebody. And
yeah.
so the person I submitted it to ended up doing an article on rodeo, and with no non-white participants in it, and that made me very, very sad.
I'm sure. I'm sure he's like, no, there's a whole nother world out there, but you got it now. I mean, this is great. It's just awesome to see that and to see what has happened. And what has happened is you have an actual book called Juneteenth Rodeo. And
Amen.
yeah,
Let's have
and
a look at that book.
let's have a look at
Let's
that
have a
book. It
look.
happens to be behind you. And of course, we've got images. I'm sure they've been dropping in throughout our discussion. But yeah, it was debuted at the Bell County Museum. I interviewed Coleman, and we talked about it. So we've already had
Cool.
the
What a
podcast on.
wonderful guy he is.
He's amazing, and I had a conflict, or I would have been there to that because I really wanted
Thank
to be two places at once that night. But yeah, so and this is all very recent, the debut of the book, and so it's what's wonderful is that now that we're celebrating Juneteenth, during this season of the summer, and there's a beautiful art display of your photographs at the Neil Cochran House Museum in Austin, and
Yes,
that'll be up for a
yes.
while. That'll be up for how long?
I believe until September. Do you know what? I need to look that up.
Yeah, no, I think it is several months. I think
Is
you're
it
right.
September? It's going to be a few months, but
Yeah, yeah.
that is part of another wonderful thing, unexpected thing that happened, which is the Humanities Texas has funded a traveling exhibit to go around the state and the country. And my hope is that it goes to some of these small communities where I shot these rodeos. And
Oh,
so that the families of these people, and I've gotten in touch with a few of the subjects, can re-experience this
yeah.
wonderful world that they created and understand how very, very special it was and how special they were.
Well, I'm very excited to see the exhibit in person, and I understand it is just so compelling. And the book itself is available where through Amazon, I presume. And
Amazon,
it's UT
University of
Press,
Texas
right?
Press,
Mm-hmm.
they'll sell it to you. a lot of local bookstores are carrying it.
Well,
Definitely patronize your independent bookstores.
absolutely. Um, it really is neat to see how something done so many years ago, almost 50 years since you
So
were.
there's my takeaway for you, Anne.
Okay.
Here's my secret to overnight publishing success: stay alive. Yeah,
That's right. Just do a little house cleaning. And you
do a
never
little
know.
house cleaning.
You
Exactly.
never know what
Please,
will happen.
exactly.
Well, I certainly, am so impressed with your career. I mean, another we haven't even touched on, you're a screenwriter as well. I think you've written something that Shelley Long acted in and Steve Gutenberg, I think.
Yeah. I adapted my second novel, A Boyfriend School. I was, and it's kind of, I'm an accidental screenwriter because I get to know my characters by writing about them. And in the case of Boyfriend School, the identity of the male protagonist had to remain a mystery. So I didn't, it came time for me to bring him to life, and I didn't really know him. So I thought, do I want to rewrite the whole book from his point of view? No, I didn't think I did.
Mm.
And this was quite some time ago, and I had just seen a screenplay, and I thought, wow, there's the answer. Lots of white space. You don't have to fill up every page. So I wrote it as a screenplay from his point of view, and I sent it to my agent, and she said, well, this is a movie. And I go, well, who would have thought? And but yeah, but that sort of opened the door for me. And then I did 10 years as a screenwriter, flying in and out of Hollywood back in the day when they used to do that.
Well, that is amazing. I'm my hat's off to you on a fabulous career, and it's just wonderful to see where, as you say, your perseverance has gotten you now at this point with
My ability to keep breathing.
keep breathing, stay alive. That's the key thing. And Juneteenth Rodeo, and what a wonderful way to honor these fabulous athletes. I mean, because they are
Exactly.
for
Good point.
sure.
Very, very good point. Yeah,
And
there were some incredible competitors who were not allowed into literally a larger arena.
well, they might have, won more money and all that kind of thing. I mean, but anyway, you've just opened up a whole world to folks who were unaware of all that. I like to end these little visits though with a little questionnaire, similar to the one the late great
Cool.
James Lipton would do on Inside the Actor Studio. So this is my take on it. All right, you are a wordsmith.
I have to apologize. I'm getting over the flu, so I sound and I look pretty damn terrible.
You sound fine, but oh no,
Sorry.
Bless your heart.
Sorry.
I know I've had it too, and so everybody's coughing. But
I know.
I'm going to ask
Okay,
you,
good.
what is your favorite word?
Oh, it's not my favorite word, but it's a word that's been on my mind a lot lately. Mucoid.
I got you.
Mucoid. That's my whole life recently is mucus management.
Okay.
That's not attractive at all.
No.
But
Well, so what's your least favorite word then?
My least favorite word. My least favorite. Do I not like any word? There are. This is making me think. When my sister was young, she said, "This is not my," but she said, "I don't know why I hate the word titillate." And I go, because it has tit in it. So that does not answer your question. I can't think of any word that I don't like. Now that I've said my favorite word is mucoid, that kind of opens the arena a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. What turns you on creatively, emotionally, or spiritually, Sarah?
I would say kind of my career has been guided by an excitement about sharing a story that I don't think people know. And that's kind of informed my work. Two, three probably of my novels are about growing up in an overseas military family, which I know that most people don't really understand what that world was like. And so that really inspired me. And of course, sharing Kathy Williams' story really excited me. And then I wrote a novel called Flamenco Academy, and that was set. I did undergraduate, and my dad retired in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I went to University of New Mexico, and they have a flamenco studies
Really?
major there.
Yeah.
So it's just, and that's just this whole incredible world, the world of flamenco in New Mexico, and just the implications of that. So that was really super exciting. But I mean, you know how it is, Anne. You get a story, and you're just like, I cannot wait to tell this story.
Well, and I felt that way about you, about talking to you. I mean, there you have it. No, that's true.
yeah, and that's certainly the way I felt about the Black Rodeos.
Oh, yeah. Well, what turns you off creatively or spiritually or emotionally?
What turns me off creatively, spiritually, or emotionally? Turns me off. I should have answers ready, and I don't. Um, I mean, certainly I've abandoned books because I don't feel like I have control of the material, or
Hmm.
can't tell the story I want to tell. Very, very frustrating. Very, very giant turn off.
Yeah.
I do not have a great answer. My apologies.
No. I think that's a very good answer.
I don't know.
Because as a writer, a storyteller, I mean, I think a lot of people don't even realize that you hit roadblocks and you're just sort of like, meh, what
Can't
am I
do
going
it.
to do? Can't do it.
Yeah, I recently I worked on a book for a year, and I couldn't make it work.
Oh,
And it dawned on me, I'm writing the wrong book.
this isn't,
I
yeah,
am writing.
this isn't
So
happening. What
so
sound?
fortunately the Black Rodeo book came up, and so
Oh,
I had somewhere to go, so I wouldn't.
no,
Yeah, if I'm not
it's
working on
awesome.
something, I'm pretty mentally ill, so that was fortunate.
Well, what sound do you love the most?
I love the sound of my husband's voice. I
Oh,
love the sound of my son's
yeah.
voice. I I love the happy barks of my dog. I was just in our backyard. I just got this wonderful app you can get on your phone called Merlin, and it identifies birds for you.
Oh, good.
Just like get it on your iPhone.
Okay.
And so, I was in the backyard, and we have a pretty great backyard, and I'd always heard, bird song, which makes you happy. But it was kind of a thrill to learn, we had the Carolina wren,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the cardinal, and some rare kind of dove.
Yeah.
So that's
Robins have a beautiful call, very beautiful song. What's your least favorite sound?
my least favorite sound. Would have to be the sound of rejection.
That's right. No,
The
thank you.
sound of a New York editor telling me this is not working, and it's not going to happen for you, Sarah. Um,
What other profession would you like to have tried?
you know, I really, I really think I ended up in the only profession I was really suited for, because I'm kind of the classic introvert who has great spurts of extroversion, and really driven to get out and experience and have adventures. But then I need, I love being around people, and I love social events, but then everybody has to, just go away for a couple days.
Yeah.
So I knew from a very early age that I could not survive in an office, and the other route that a lot of writers take is teaching. And I also knew, no, I do not have, at that point, I did not have a molecule of performance gene. So that was not going to work for me.
Well, you kind of answered that. The next question, what do you know you would not want to do?
Um,
Yeah.
God, almost anything except what I've been so, so fortunate,
Yeah.
so lucky that I came of age at the time I did, because to any of your young writers or people who tell me, it's so much harder now to become a writer. It's very, very much harder. So I just, I thank my lucky stars, or whatever,
Yeah.
that I pursued what I pursued at the time that I pursued it.
Yeah. Yeah. One last question. What do you want to
All
hear?
right, I'm going to whiff this one
Okay.
too.
What do you want to hear
I write
God?
terribly.
What do you want to
Go
hear
ahead.
God say to you when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Well, this is a surprise. What do I want? I think I would feel good if he said, "You have fulfilled your obligations on Earth. You
Yeah.
did what you were supposed to do."
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I
Yeah.
think that would be it.
Yeah.
I think that would be it. And also, if he would say, "Your mom's here." I really miss my
Oh,
mom.
yeah. Absolutely. Well, you're doing good work, Sarah Bird, and I look forward to meeting you in person. And I hope that is
Oh, I
soon.
do too, Anne. I'm
Yeah, I'm
glad you're
looking
going to come
forward to
this
that.
Saturday.
Oh, absolutely. It's gonna
It
be
should be
so much
fun. It should
fun.
be fun. If any of your listeners are in the area,
Yeah.
come Neil
Oh,
Cochran House Museum.
absolutely. The Neil Cocker's on San Gabriel, just right almost on the UT campus. And
Correct.
yes, you'll definitely want to see the photographs that Sarah Bird has done and pick up a copy of the Juneteenth Rodeo. It's just an awesome, awesome thing. Thank you, Sarah, for being with us today.
Hey,
Appreciate
Anne,
it.
you're a delight to talk to. I've really enjoyed this. Thank you for
Good.
our conversation.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for joining us for Central Texas Life. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Central Texas Life with Ann Harder is part of the Rogue Media family. Be sure to check out our other shows at roguemedianetwork.com. Please rate this show 5 stars on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere you get your podcasts. Join us again soon for more Central Texas Life with Ann Harder.
Hey there, golf lovers. Looking to step up your game? Let me tell you about Mollybox, the ultimate golf subscription box. Every month, Mollybox sends you a box packed with premium golf gear, accessories, and stylish apparel, all delivered right to your door. Imagine getting top-tier apparel and more, all handpicked just for you. With Mollybox, you'll stay ahead of the game and boost your performance. It's like having a personal caddy in a box. So why wait? Join the Mollybox family today. Head over to mollybox.com and use your limited time promo code ROGUE25, ROGUE, ROGUE 25 for 25% off your first box. That's mollybox.com.